Have you ever played a sequel to a game that was so groundbreaking, so revolutionary it overshadows the first game in that franchise by a mile? I could name so many off my head right now. Batman Arkham City, Melee, Crash 2, Uncharted 2, the list goes on. However, there's one video game sequel I can name that was so groundbreaking it gave fans zero reason to revisit the original game. And of course I'm talking about Tekken 2, because who the fuck willingly plays Tekken 1 nowadays?
If I ever find one of these lying around again, I swear to fucking God, I will stop being so polite. Get the fuck out of my sight before I demolish you.
You see, the mad cunts over at Namco made this little game called Tekken, which originally released in arcades in 1994 and eventually got ported to the PlayStation in 1995. 3D fighting games were very scarce at the time, with the only other notable game in the 3D game fighting genre worth mentioning being Virtua Fighter, made by Sega.
Something buggy?
Yeah, that's Sega.
Don't even ask.
Because of this, Tekken took over arcades and homes around the world. However, Tekken 2 managed to do all this and so much more when it initially released in arcades in 1995, and especially when it came out on the PlayStation in 1996.
Good morning.
Tekken 2's graphics were improved upon so much from Tekken 1, and were visually stunning for the time. The CGI FMVs look far more cinematic and realistic compared to whatever the fuck this is. You can also notice how much better these character models look in Tekken 2. Devil Kazuya actually looks like a devil, Nina finally put on some shoes, and Kuma by far had the best glow up. It went from looking like a constipated Freddy Fazbear to a, well, still kind of constipated but somewhat realistic Grizzly Bear. He still looks like he got stung by a beetle on the character select screen, however.
Man, fuck you. I'll see you at work.
Oh, nigga, don't hate me because I'm beautiful, nigga. Maybe you got rid of that old yee-yee ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your dick.
On the topic of glow-ups, Tekken 2's character roster was insanely stacked compared to its predecessor. I could keep beating the dead horse that is Tekken 1 about how much of an improvement its sequel is. However, I think it's more important to mention that the total number of playable characters in Tekken 2 was a mind-blowing 25. This may sound like fuck all today, but this was by far one of, if not the largest character rosters in a fighting game when it first came out. Like in all fighting games, some characters were obviously clones or alternate costumes. Like with Alex and Angel being costume swaps for Roger and Devil, for example. But Tekken 2 still had a good variety of different fighters with different fighting styles to keep gameplay fresh and interesting. Jun Kazama was by far my favourite new character to play as in this game, and was one of my mains alongside Kazuya in Tekken 2. Although a lot of her moves have slow startup times, she is still able to tank massive damage from the other player while moving so damn elegantly, which can also make her quite unpredictable. Back?
Oh, my back!
He's a Taekwondo fighter, is one of the snappier characters in this game since he can pull off a ton of devastating combos and will obliterate you in seconds, which helps compensate for the PS1 stiffness you feel playing this game and other 3D fighters from the time. And of course I have to mention Devil, who I'd rather just show you what he can do.
Yeah, boy.
Don't do it to me.
The hardest choices require the strongest ones.
No.
No! You my son! You my son!
However, the best newcomers to be introduced in Tekken 2 were Roger and Alex. These two legends are genetically enhanced kangaroo and velociraptor juiced up on Captain America's super soldier serum. They also aren't afraid to come to your house and beat the shit out of you and your loved ones if you don't play as them. I remember that they were so fucking fun to use. And I'm 100% biased for Roger, since it's extremely rare for my homeland of fucking Australia to get any good representation in media, especially gaming. Roger will always have my respect, and should be Australia's official mascot. Tekken 2's new characters and unique fighting styles they introduced were so refreshing. I didn't even mention other new fighters with unique movesets like Lei the Hong Kong Cop and Bruce the World Champion Kickboxer, as well as the fact that many returning characters play completely differently from Tekken 1, thanks to the fact that the amount of unique moves and combos you can pull off have been more than doubled in Tekken 2, as well as gameplay mechanics like sidestepping, back throws, and reversals. And not to mention, you can actually view and learn all of these moves in the command list at any time, instead of button mashing like you had to before. You can even practice all of these moves in the dedicated practice mode, which was quite revolutionary for the time. There were also a ton of other game modes introduced in this game, which have been in just about every other Tekken game since, like the time attack mode, survival mode, and my personal favourite is the team battles mode, which let you and your opponent choose up to 8 characters for one all-out bloodlusted fight sesh. The team battle mode has been a mainstay since, and has always been one of my favourite extra game modes in the Tekken series for years. If there's one key aspect of any Tekken game that is always remembered by the ones who played that specific title, it has to be the soundtrack. Even for Tekken standards, the Tekken 2 soundtrack was crazy. I could go on all day about it, but I'd prefer you to witness it for yourself.
What's wrong with you?
I don't. No, I can't control it.
This game also brought back every track from Tekken 1, which obviously does mean they included this banger.
And it was beautiful.
But with every good game, no matter how groundbreaking, it always has its negatives. Unless you're talking about Eminem's kart racing, because that game is perfection.
What a fucking nick.
If you've ever played Tekken 2 before, you'll know how fucked the computer players are. I swear bro, I recorded most of this gameplay with the CPU set to medium difficulty, and yet they're still backdashing like a bunch of nerdneck Discord moderators. And not to mention, they never stop blocking every fucking thing you throw at them, and out of nowhere they'll start pulling off 10-hit combos on you.
Is that all you got, faggot?
It's even more problematic when you're playing the arcade mode and come against Kazuya, who's already hard enough to beat as is, but after you eventually beat him, he transforms into Devil, who's in a league of his own. You can't forget about his forehead laser, which in my opinion is its most overpowered version of the iconic laser in any Tekken game. It's fucked. I'd rather get ran over by a fucking steamroller than play against a Tekken 2 computer player cunt, I swear. Just like its predecessor, Tekken 2 also has this fucked delay when you get hit on the ground, and it won't let you get up no matter how much you spam the D-pad. This bullshit delay is so fucking annoying, and I'm forever grateful that Tekken 3 fixed this issue, but my god, it's horrible. And while Tekken 2 is way smoother and more responsive than its predecessor, it still feels very stiff, like a lot of very early 3D fighting games did in the mid-90s. It wouldn't be until Tekken 3 when the Tekken series felt fast and responsive, but that's another topic for another day. Tekken 2 was a groundbreaking sequel that improved upon the foundation in Tekken 1 and blew everyone's expectations away. It was just the beginning of what Tekken and other 3D fighting game franchises in general could aspire to as time went on. While Tekken 3 was the true revolutionary masterpiece that everyone looks back on the fondest, and rightfully so, Tekken 2 was still a huge step forward and it was always fascinating to look back on. This entry in the series has one of the catchiest and most memorable soundtracks in Tekken history, which just screams early 90s. The Gargantuan increased in play playable characters with unique and well thought out movesets combined with new mechanics to keep gameplay fresh. And you can't forget about the impact Tekken 2's intro cinematic had on everyone around this time. This game made such a huge impact in the gaming industry, it earned a ton of awards with the likes of the best fighting game and the best arcade game in 1996, just to name a few. Tekken 2 is nowhere near my favourite game in the franchise, but it's still in my opinion one of the most interesting Tekken games to think about in retrospect. We can all agree that Tekken 3 is a far better game graphically and especially gameplay wise, but you still can't forget about everything Tekken 2 did for the Tekken series. Tekken 1 crawled, so Tekken 2 could walk, and finally Tekken 3 could run.
You're wearing a cape. You're just a cheap fucking knockoff. Oh no. I'm the upgrade.
If I up my shit, better run, little bitch. I don't care about these niggas, I'ma empty my clip. White